On Discord and those out on Streamland. We've got a fun day ahead of us. Thanks, Charles, for the like already. We're going to be covering timing our sprints. That's a lot of fun because we're going to get to go hard a little bit, but for the most part, we're going to be going fairly easy and working on just making sure we get it right. Because more often than not, we don't, myself included. We start too late, we start too early. The goal behind your sprint is to cross that finish line just as your ability to go hard runs out. Yeah, Brent, definitely going to be good sprinting. Hopefully you're able to join us. So if you need to get your fan set up, get your water ready, hit the bathroom, this is a great time to do it. We're going to be practicing our sprints from a very short distance. And we're going to be practicing from a little bit longer today. And we're going to be practicing just how you get out and get at it and how long you can hold your sprint for. So we're going to kind of identify what you can hold a sprint for today. So that's going to be the hard part of the class. We'll liken it to an FTP test, but it's going to be much, much shorter. And you probably won't want to throw up at the end of it. So do we have any new people on Discord yet? Someone who's got their first time on Discord with us? No, looks like we got all Discord veterans. Fantastic. Oh, Henry's new. Well, Henry, if you're wondering how you speak, it's a push to talk on main voice chat. So if you're on your phone, there's a little button that says push to talk. If you're on a PC, on your computer, it's usually set up as the space bar, but you can go into the settings and change that. And like always, feel free to jump on in the Discord, folks, with questions or comments, or if you get dropped off the back or you're shot off the front, asking where we are. We'll always help guide you back. And for those watching the stream, feel free to put in your questions. We'll get to them as well. Matt G, thanks for joining us. So for those of you on Discord, you're going to get a lot more instruction than those who are just on the regular type chat. But periodically, I'll go silent from time to time as I type out what we're going to do to the group. That often is just for a few seconds, and I usually will go into much more detail with you guys than you'll see on the screen, because frankly, I just don't have the ability to type 100 words a minute while I'm riding. So let me put out some basic information, and then I'll come back to you guys.
Good evening.
Evening, Seth. So we're going to cover a little sprinting here, Seth. They'll be short this today, except for one that's going to be kind of like the sprint FTP, but it won't be too harsh.
Okay.
Alrighty, we got a few more people on. We got 8 of us total so far in the pen. We got a handful on Discord. Should be a fun class today. That is not what I tried to do. Alright, so like usual, we're going to start off at a 1.5 max. So 1.5 watts a kilo. So please try not to bust out the starting gate at 2.5 or 2.0. We won't chase you, so you'll just be kind of riding off on your own for 60 minutes. So it's not going to be very, very useful for you. We are going to stick together today. We will be slowing down sometimes to 1.0 to let people back on. And then at times we will be pushing upwards of, into the orange for our sprints. So that means over 8 watts a kilo for some people. Some people maybe not that high. Some of the crazy strong people might push up to upwards of 13 or 14. There is no expectation that you go orange. There is an expectation that you give it a shot, and try and hammer as hard as you can when I tell you to hammer hard. A lot of times what we'll be doing, we'll have a cap on the effort because we're working on the crawl, walk, run methodology. And sometimes I'll cap it so we don't exhaust ourselves and we're able to focus on the technique or the tactic and then later implement it at a much harder effort. That's the basic way we do all this class every week, is we introduce a small handful of concepts, anywhere between 2 and 4, and then we do crawl, walk, run through it, and we try to have fun, put a little competition in there sometimes. Sometimes there's some punishment doled out when people don't pay or don't want to follow the rules of the game. Looks like we have an amazing beast just joined us, Alex A. Gagnon there, who's just a stud on the bike. Fortunately, he's a triathlete and has almost 0 sprint. The downside of that is his average watts that he holds is pretty much like most of our sprints. Henry, yes, I will tell you how long to sprint. I will tell you at what power level we want. And we will also tell you when to go. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. We try to make this pretty easy for you, so you just have to pedal. Henry asked if I was telling him how long to sprint. So. All right, I think I'm gonna give myself carpal tunnel syndrome by typing on this thing. I'm gonna have to raise that up. All right. All right, so we got a few more minutes left. What you saw I just typed up there was talking about moving around the bunch. So during our warm-up, we're going to stay at a 1.5, so it should be slow enough that you can feel free to move around and not have to worry about getting dropped. What I'd like everyone to do is try to move from the front to the back of the group. You can try and use me as your center point of our small peloton here. We have our 23 riders now. And I want you to really feel, what does it take to move from the back to the front, from the front to the back? What are the different dynamics of the group? Because when you're on the back, you'll feel small changes in the front. They'll be much more relevant to you at the back. Whereas in the front, you may not notice that 0.2 or 0.3 watts per kilogram change. But in the back, all of a sudden, it's going to stretch things out. It's going to put it back together. It's going to stretch things out. It's going to create gaps. So I want you to feel what that's like when you're in the back. I want you to feel what it's like when you're in the middle. I want you to feel what it's like in the front. And yes, I know you're not going to feel wind. I know you're not going to feel, elbows and helmets and things like that. But you'll get a sense of it, even if you're on a regular trainer, and you'll definitely get a sense of it on a smart trainer. So just try and practice moving around. We're going to do that for about 10 minutes in our warm-up, and we're going to get our legs nice and prepped for the sprints. Alrighty, we're picking up. We're up to 34 riders now. We're gonna have a good sized class. Alright, Kurt's first ride on Discord. Yeah, hope we have fun. You can always chime in too. Chime in through push to talk. We are streaming, so I would appreciate if we keep it PG-13. But, whatever happens, happens. Alright, so for the new folks rolling in on Discord, I already covered it once before, and I put some stuff in the chat. We're going to be covering how to time our sprints. Some of you might have done a version of this class before. It's a great class to do on the Richmond Flats because we have 2 sprint points, and it's completely flat, so we don't have to worry about getting split apart on the hills. So what we're going to work on today when I say timing the sprints is try to understand what sprint capability you have from certain distances. We're going to go short, we're going to go a little medium, we're going to go long. So in each one of those, we're going to practice it at an easy, a moderate, and then a hard. And we're going to test to see what we could actually get up to and hold through the duration. All right, Dave's first Discord ride. Welcome, Dave. We got a good-sized group now in Discord. That's what I like. We have about 35 more seconds and we're going to be starting our class. Remember, 1.5 watts a kilo, please. Let's not blow out the gate. I'm not going to chase you. And those who do will miss the class. Let's see. All right, we are getting ready to roll. 1 second to go. And we're moving. 1.5 watts a kilo, folks. All right, now that is a pretty group. We got a lot of people today. Thanks, Jamel, for the ride on. Good, so now you can see we're in our group. Let's practice moving around. Go to the front and the back. Let's keep it nice and easy at the front. We're looking good. Jason Flores, thanks for joining. Use me with the beacon as your center point. So go forward and back. Don't just sit at the front and don't just sit at the back. Really take time to try and understand what happens in the different places in the peloton. So for those of you who are going to watch the Tour de France starting this weekend, you'll notice that the top riders, except for Steve Cummings, are always in that front third. Because that allows them to respond, it allows them to react if there's an accident. Most time the accidents take place from the middle back. So if you're in the front third, a lot of times you can just avoid the accidents, which is a much better way to do it. I found not being in an accident is much better than picking myself up off the deck after an accident. I don't think I'm in the minority in that opinion. There are tail gunners like Steve Cummings who are able to do a lot from the back, but they're also breakaway specialists and breakaway artists, and that's not what we're working on today. And when you're riding in Zwift, being able to stay up towards the front is very important because as small breaks happen and groups form, it's very difficult to react and come across if the gap gets just big enough. And you can see right now, we've already got small gaps opening up. We want to try to avoid that as best as possible. So if you're already sliding towards the back, go ahead and make your way back up to the front. We'll take a look at what's going on. Yeah, we got a few people who are slightly coming off the front. So for those folks who are up pushing the 2.0, como like Itame, we need him to ease off. Dave, if you could ease that group just a touch, Seth, you're up with them, or Deirdre, you're up with them. Just try not to drive the pace. We got a small gap to the front. We're going to stay right here for a few more minutes. We're going to get nice and warmed up because we're going to be pushing kind of hard when we do our sprint, so I don't want anyone starting our sprint cold. All right, we got a few riders up the road. There's a split. If you want to be part of the group, you're gonna need to ease off. All right, so I'm gonna type out to the group what we're gonna be doing here. The first part of what we're gonna be doing is not necessarily related to the sprint points, and then we will move into the sprint points. So I'm going to type it out to the group, and then I'll go into more detail for you guys. All right, so the first focus area is simply going to be the short sprint. And I consider a short sprint 200 meters or less. And why do I call that a short sprint? Because that's a very typical, thanks Taya. Yeah, you know, I type a lot at work, so it helps. You know, a lot of times the sprints will take place only over 200 meters if you have very cagey riders who are very strong riders but can get up to speed quick. So a lot of fast twitch muscle. Not necessarily those big diesels who, you know, need 3 kilometers to get up to speed, but then it's just untouchable speed. So we're talking those who can just, boom, the Usain Bolts, that kind of stuff. Apparently I have fast twitch muscles in my fingers, just not my legs. Now this kind of sprint is very much, fast typing and talking, yeah. This kind of sprint is very much of a burst sprint. So it is not something that you're gonna hold for a long time. It's all about being able to get it up to speed and then boom, you kind of slow down. So you're not able to sustain this for very long. So we're talking your 5-second, 10-second power, maybe a little bit longer, up to about, not 30, because I can run 230 seconds, but that 10 to 15 second power. So that's what we're really talking about in this short sprint, right? And thanks for watching, Martin. So when we start these kind of sprints, gearing is very important. We talked about gearing a couple weeks ago, making sure you're in the right gear. Because if you're in a gear that you can't push very easy, you're not going to be able to burst up to speed. But if it's too easy of a gear, then you're going to spin out too quickly. So it has to be that good, solid gear. And when we sprint for this, when we practice it, that gearing is going to be fairly evident. And we'll do this a few times so you can dial it in. Oh, Martin, don't worry, there's typos. I just delete them. All right, so the people in the back with me, those in the back with me, we have to close the gap. So if you're up at the front, please drop the 1.0. We are not sprinting yet. Thanks, Martin. All right, so the first thing we are going to do once we start our sprinting is we're simply going to find a gear that allows us to get up to our max sprint wattage quickly. So whatever's going to be able to get you into the orange or very close to the orange. So that's all we're going to do. You're going to get up there and you're going to slow down. We're not going to hold it. So we're going to practice this a couple times because I really want you to figure out what gearing works. Okay? That's key to this. If you can't figure that out, you're never going to have your sprint timed correctly.
I think you just got spit, Ian.
What's that?
Very well. Maybe I just got spit.
Oh, no, I'm still here with the group.
I see only myself.
Yeah, it'll probably come back. That's usually connectivity. All right, we're going to try a few different gearings. So don't worry if you don't get it right. Alrighty. Alright, I need everyone to go ahead and shift to a gear that you think you could possibly sprint off, but keep the power low. Excuse me. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and shift up a few gears. I'm in the middle of my cassette. For me, that's a good sprinting gear. Alrighty. Thanks to the like there, Kurt and Brett. Okay, get set. Building as fast as possible and then easing up. And go. Let's go. Get that up to the orange. Boom. And then easing up. So for me right there, what you could see is I was having to do a lot of pulling. So from the speed I was going and the torque that was on the gears, that was not a good gear for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and ease it down one, and I'll start from there next time. How did everyone else's gear selection go?
I think I was one too high.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Perfect.
Perfect, nice.
Too high.
I did see 8.5 though, so not bad.
Yeah, I got up to 14, but it was mostly pulling. I wasn't getting speed necessarily as quick as I would. I didn't get up there as quick as I should have.
14 what?
Watts a kilo. All right.
Yeah, just do what I did, dear. Just shake your head in dismay.
Yeah, I did. Not my language.
All right, get ready. Get set and go. All right, and ease off. Let's see, Dave is saying he's a lighter male rider with decent watt per kilo, class as a B, but he struggles to even keep in a pack during C races. Yeah, we'll go over that in a little bit, Dave. Once we get through this iteration, we'll go back to it. I'll definitely come back to that.
My first choice is better.
Yeah, mine was 2 if I go at a little faster into it. So let's go 1.0 at the front, please, if you're up at the front. We're going to try and regroup a little bit. So here's the thing. Martin says I gotta stay up super late one night and join this for real. And he said I must be eating a lot of protein in my haggis. Maybe that I had a lot of power. No haggis for me, man. I might be, my family might be from Scotland, but I can't do it. No way.
Haggis.
Harriet, Charlie says you're a bitcher.
All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of a tweak on this. we're gonna accelerate a little bit before we sprint. So right now we're riding at 1.0, 1.5. When I say go, or when I say set, I want you to go up to about a 3.0. That kind of gives us a little momentum. So for those of you who felt a little bit over geared on the first one, I would say go back to that gear and let's work from there. Alrighty, so I think we are more or less together. Go ahead and get in your gearing. Alright, bump it up to a 3.0. And I'm in a better gear now. No, that's probably a... All right, and go. Yeah, so I was definitely able to get a lot higher there. Woo! I think I got like 924. Well, that's a lot for me. All right, let's regroup.
Yeah. Saw 8.8 on that one.
Nice. So how did everyone else feel in their choice? Did you feel that you could take that over torqued or slightly over geared gear and with the momentum get a better sprint out of it?
Most definitely.
Nice. Well, good. Deirdre, how about you?
I did better, I think.
Good. Let's see. Yeah, so while we're regrouping here, I'll answer Kurt a little bit. Dave didn't quite hit his 13 watts a kilo, so he might have to work that gearing just a little bit. So, Kurt, one of the things you were asking about is, or excuse me, Dave, who was it? Dave was asking as a lighter rider. Yeah, so I'm a lighter rider too, Dave. On flat routes, we just get smoked. You're just gonna have to ride and stay in the bunch. That's the hardest part. On the hilly rides, you know, it's a little easier. But as far as staying with the bunch, what I've noticed is that, especially in the C group starts out really hard. They ride much more at B level for the first 20 minutes. So it's just kind of, you got to sit in and make that selection with the B's and with the C's. I mean, the A's are the same thing. Careful not to get sworn. Oops. So, you got to be able to develop that ability just to stay with the group. And then on the C's, it drops back down. Even the B's, it'll drop down to the low, mid threes for some races. JM asked how we display watts per kilo. It's under your name on the rider list on the right side. That's where it is. All right, so we're gonna do a very mini FTP. It's 10 seconds. We're gonna hold our max power for 10 seconds. The key to max power, or 10-second power, So the key to this is simply just getting there and holding it, and you're gonna have to suffer. You may have to shift, but be careful when you shift not to drop your chain or break anything. So if you have to shift, slightly take out the pressure, shift, and get back on the pressure. That's the art. That's a bit of an art, though. So. All right, we're going to accelerate to 3.0 like we did last time when I say set. See if you can hold it, but try and figure out where you can't. Where do you drop off at? How long into it do you drop? .5 still. All right. Gotta try and hold our power back. I understand. We have a couple people at the very back. I want to have an opportunity to be with us on this sprint. They're only a few seconds back. Looks like Parati had a drop or something. He's dropping out periodically, trying to get Riel back on us.
Yeah, I had some technical difficulties. I'll try and get that.
Okay. You'll catch us up when we recover too, because I'll put us to 1.0 on the regroup. And go. And easy. Woo. I don't know where I got to, but it was a lot. Whew. Seth, did you break 10?
Oh, hell no. I did hit 9.5.
Nice, nice. Deirdre, did you go in the orange?
Not sure.
Dr. Haskell,
What's the
welcome.
orange? What number is the orange?
Anything over 8, I think.
Yeah, that's where mine.
Nope.
And mine spiked at 9.5 and then back down to about 7.8.
So who couldn't hold it for the entire 10 seconds within 10%?
Yeah, that'd be me.
Was anybody able to hold it for the entire 10 seconds? Actually maxed out or continuing to accelerate?
Yeah, got my team.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I dropped about 30 watts in the last 2 seconds, but other than that, I was all right. I didn't have anything more than that, though. There was not a second more. So if you can carry some momentum, you can actually get up to speed quicker, but I don't know if you necessarily get more power out of it. So you have to balance that of your momentum and expenditure of power vice, you know, how much you can actually expend it on the sprint. All right, yeah, Martin, I think that's about as much as I got for that level. 9:30. That's about it. Yeah. So we're gonna go into longer sprints now. Longer sprints are a little bit more difficult. So no need to start sprinting yet, everybody. No need to start sprinting yet. We're gonna regroup. So for a longer sprint, all right, Martin, yeah, you gotta go sleep. Martin says he expects me to hit 1,000 watts before the end. Yeah.
Ring that bell.
Yeah. Yeah, Martin, go to sleep and I'll tell you that I hit 1,000 watts. All right, so on the longer sprint, there's two famous ODZers. Matt Roth and Justin Laborio, or New Jay.
Oh boy.
Matt Roth likes to sprint from a K. New Jay is good at sprinting from a K. There's a difference. There's a big difference. The ability to sprint from distance is about really one thing. Your ability just to suffer like a dog. So as you're trying to work the whole sprint from distance aspect, you got to figure out what your pain tolerance levels are. How long can you go with your lungs, heart, and legs all screaming at you to stop? I don't like sprinting from distance. One, guys who can sprint from distance can hold my 10-second power for a minute. I cannot do that. I like to go from 5K, because that's not a sprint. So as we start talking sprinting from distance, it's imperative that we start learning what we think we can hold for the entire time. Because if you start to fade, you're done. When you start to fade, it exponentially goes bad very quickly. I mean, and you just go plummeting through the floor, and then you're the guy who gets caught at 5 meters. In worst case, you may have even held up your arms thinking you were going to win, and then you get passed.
And what's
by
that called?
Guys.
It's called haskelling.
Exactly. It's an epic fail. All right, let me type some of this out and we'll get into it.
So is there a rule of thumb relative to one's FTP?
I mean,
10% or 5%?
yeah, you're going to look at a VO2 max level, maybe a little bit more. You're probably upwards of, let's see, I was 300% for that. You're probably actually looking at almost double FTP for that long sprint. So 200% FTP.
That's not the answer I was looking for.
Sorry. So Alex asked, are we standing or sitting? I stand, but what I found a lot of people in the long sprint will do is they'll stand and then they'll go to a seated and shift up. See, Dave asked how often we do these rides? Every week Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Dave. I don't know what races you do, but there's never cookies and beers at the end of the sprint for me, Dave. All right, Dave got the green jersey. He's going to dinner. Okay, so that's a great way to do it. Get the jersey and leave. All right, so we're going to start here in a second. What we're going to do on our long sprints is we are going to just pick up to about 150% of FTP and hold it for 30 seconds. Then we'll regroup. Okay, we're just going to see how that feels. I know how it's going to feel. You don't need to use the 4-letter words, but we're going to see if we can hold it. All right, so it looks like we're mostly together here. I'm gonna try and get a different view. All right, so we are going to take off when I say go, and we're gonna hold 150% of FTP. You're gonna wanna get there quick, and you're gonna hold the whole time. So do the mental math right now, if you need to. That means take half of your FTP and add it to itself, to the FTP, if you're not sure what 150% is. So if your FTP is 200, 150% is 300. So I have to do the mental math for myself. All right, about 350 is close enough. Yeah, no, 375, got it. We're gonna only hold it for 30 seconds. We're gonna start at the 32:30 mark. This should be a lot of fun. It's 30 seconds at that level. So if you need to get out of the saddle, get out of the saddle. If you need to be seated, be seated. It's whatever you can do to hold that effort. All right, get set. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Go, 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 go. So 150% of your FTP shouldn't feel all that much for 30 seconds. It shouldn't be comfortable, but it shouldn't be hard. All right, ease up. Everybody able to hold it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bounced around it, but yeah, average it.
Good. So that's 30 seconds of that. Now, remember, the long sprint is between 500 and 1,000 meters. We're not doing 60 kilometers an hour, so you're upwards of 2 minutes in your sprint if it's a long sprint. All right, so our next one we're gonna do is actually 2 minutes at that 150%. Why? Because I told you probably have to do 200% in the regular race, so let's try it. Should be a lot of fun. So we got about a minute and change before we start. Nice and easy here still, spin it out. Does anybody have any questions on what I want you to do on this one?
Yeah, so what are we doing on this one?
2 minutes.
Give ourselves.
2 minutes at 150% FTP. So you just held, but do it for 2 minutes.
Okay.
And try and hold it. And if you can't hold it, that's okay. But what we're going to try and do is see, is this right around in the ballpark where you where you need to be? Alex just called me a murderer. Not a murderer.
Just puke.
Right. This is more like punching a puppy, right, Seth?
God, I hate that image.
Speed is life.
That's what I learned from Breaking Bad.
I'm addicted to it.
10 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Deirdre. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. 2 minutes. Get yourself up to speed. There we go. It's much better. It feels like I'm just chasing down lions this whole 2 minutes. Woo! One more minute. Come on. Ah! All right. All right, good job. Oh man, Alex showed that erg. All right, so who was able to make it?
I think so.
I got to about 1:25.
That's a good job. Who else? Anybody? You can admit it.
I think I made it. I think I made it.
All right, we're gonna recover here. Oh, I can feel it in my legs. My quads are killing me. Jam Cycle made it 1:30. Kurt, he said it was attempted murder, technically. A little bit of barf action. If you throw up, that's good. It means your watts per kilo just went up. Because your kilos just went down. We're going to recover here for a minute. Very good work. I know it was really hard. I hope now I've dissuaded most of you from trying just to do long sprints. Trying to figure out where we are, and then what we're gonna do to finish off the class is we're gonna hit the sprint points. Short sprint for the first 2, long sprint the lap after that. All right, so we're gonna do 2 short sprints and 2 long sprints to finish off our class. We'll give you some recovery time in between, don't worry about that. Thea, thanks for the ride on. All right, we got a few more people in the back. So when we do our short sprints at the sprint points, you can't start your sprint until 200 meters to go. So there's not going to be a start right away. And our long sprints, we'll start from further back. Alrighty. Catch back up here. Let's catch on to the group, Deirdre. We've got some, we got our first sprint gonna be coming up. Done a good job of keeping the group more or less together. Just say I'm pretty stoked about that. Appreciate everyone's hard work and paying attention. We always want to maximize the number of people who can stay with the group so everyone has a learning opportunity. It's not as much fun to sit there and sprint by yourself. All right, so front group, I need you guys to drop it to a 1.0, please. All right, so at the start of the sprint line, we'll lift the pace, the sprint line start, or sprint start line, we'll start lifting the pace to 3.0. So we'll be sprinting with momentum. Not a ton, but a little bit. And at 200 meters, you can go. All right, lift it up to a 3.0, I believe. Ah, crap, we're go. Swarmed by the other race. Ease up to 1.0. That's the bad part about that group, or this course. We get the groups on it. I think next time for skills and drills, we gotta use the culling tool. All right, Seth, let's get back on up to them. We got a little strung out, so 1.0 up front. All right, so next sprint's gonna be the same thing. We're gonna do that short sprint. All right, so I saw Timmy Fawcett riding earlier today, Seth and Deirdre, but I guess he didn't join us.
Say that again?
I saw Tim Fawcett riding. He didn't join us, though.
No, it looks like he rode earlier.
Yeah.
He's scared.
He doesn't want to get attacked by Deirdre.
I'll give him a hard time tomorrow at work.
Good, good. He needs that.
Please do.
All right, we are almost caught onto the back of the group. All right, I think we're more or less there. So good. We got a few folks off the front. What's that, Deirdre?
I got lost.
Let's see. Dave said he might be out next week. Real life, but he might join us if he's not. He said it's helpful, and thanks. Dave, you're very welcome. Yes, thinking smarter with training is definitely, that's our theme for all of our races, or all of our skills and drills. Ride smarter, not harder.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. I'm going to try it that way now.
Well,
Because I've been doing the opposite.
but were you actually riding harder, Chris?
No. Hey, I had a great race last night.
Did you? How'd you do?
Was right there. I was the only guy, so I was more wheel surfing, but finished 7th.
Wait,
Pretty big field.
You were the only guy and you finished 7th?
Yes. No, I was the only guy on my team.
Oh, okay.
Eric wasn't with me in that race.
Gotcha. All right, let's start getting ready. Lift it up to 3.0. We're going to just carry 3.0 into our next sprint because I want to get some speed going. This will be a little harder, I know. So if you're hanging onto the back, try and move yourself up to the front. Remember, the accordion effect still happens, even on flat roads, and it's not a crazy high pace. But it is a hard pace for some folks. So you want to be up in that front third. You're going to try and be in front of me. We have the luxury of not being able to crash on Zwift, so you definitely want to try and stay bunched up at the front. Come on, Deirdre. You can do it. You got to make that bridge. Bridge at the Sims, and you guys can do the sprint together. And we're going to ease off for everyone to catch back on after this one. I'm going to move my butt up to the front third so I can see when the sprint point comes. We got 10 minutes left, folks. 10 minutes. You only have to hold this for a little bit longer. Then we hit cooldown. So remember, this is where you really want to stay tight. Once those gaps open up, it's hard to close it. Good, Seth. You're great position. Very nice. Yeah, Kurt, riding from the neck up, not the neck down. Yeah, if you watch the US Pro race from Sunday, the National Championship, Larry Warbass did that just beautifully. That was a classic example of a ride smarter, not harder. All right. We're in a nice tight little bunch here. Boom, some of you guys are gonna make the Zwift vlog. As your names and avatar faces will be on there. So every week I do get I'm actually caught up now, but I put the write-up of the class on the zwiftblog.com as well as my own, which is evilelfracing.com, so you can read it there if you want to go back and revisit. Go, 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 go! I did not make it up to my top power. Failed in my gearing.
Yeah, I didn't make it either. Felt like I did. Looks like I did on my power trace, but it didn't show.
Well, we'll check the data later. I think sometimes Zwift just lies.
We know that's true.
Because I think I was pushing 1,500 watts right there. I'm
At
pretty
least.
sure I broke that 1,000 that Martin wanted.
That's like a fish story.
Right. You guys just don't understand. My legs almost got ripped off on the pedals.
You didn't have that.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what. So in my race last night, I've been out of shape, and I kind of channeled my skills and drills at lots of moments, just reminding myself, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh, I can close that gap. Oh, I can, bridge up here.
Yeah,
I can hold the wheel for another half lap until he breaks down, even though I was in misery.
so
It was
you're-
awesome.
So what you're saying, what I'm taking from you is that having to listen to me talk for an hour is such a miserable experience that you're ready for your race.
Oh yeah, if I can listen to you for a half an hour, I can be in zone 5 for an hour.
Easy choice.
Totally.
All right, we only have 4.5 minutes left, so we're gonna just spin down here.
Are you excited for the group workout package to drop?
Yeah.
Will
as
you
soon as
use that here in Skills and Drills?
Probably. I know I'll definitely use it in Zwifters though,
Yeah.
because I don't know
I
if they're gonna
think
drop
that
it
they-
and require a workout to be attached to it.
I would imagine that the key will be putting in a number of free ride sections
Yeah.
to regroup, right? So that you can ride together and then put in an effort,
Yeah. But if you on the group workout module, you won't have to regroup. It'll keep you together.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick recap for you. We covered two types of sprinting, and we really only hammered down on the short sprint because it seemed like everyone was hurting real bad on the long sprint. We just ran out of time. So, let me type that. So, the key things here on the short and long sprints to remember, whatever you're going to do, it's a 200 meter shorter sprint or a 1,000 meter sprint, you're going to have to be able to hold what you got to, or what you're going to do. So if you're going to do that 200 meter sprint, it's all about getting up the power really, really, really fast and then sustaining that through the finish line. It's probably only 10 seconds, 15 max, unless you're doing an uphill sprint. Okay, but if you can't sustain that, getting up to that power is immaterial. If I get up to 1,500 watts, but I can only hold it for 2 seconds, and then that pushes me all the way down to 250, then it doesn't really do anything because everyone's going to come by me at the last minute. You have to be able to get on the gas and stay on the gas and ride it till you blow, hopefully, which is just after you cross the finish line in first place. That's ideal. Key to that is making sure you have a good gearing set. And the only way to really practice that, or to know that, is to get out and practice this a few times on the road, on your trainer, and see if I'm working from different speeds or different efforts, what can I gear to get up to my max sprint? And it's going to be different based on any different speed that you're riding. So if you're riding from a very slow speed or very low effort, you're at that kind of standstill tactical game, you may need to gear a little bit lower than you would otherwise gear if you're riding at, almost full gas the final sprint. Likewise for the long sprint, it's about getting up to speed quicker, up to that power, but you don't want to overcook too quick. You want to go up to the line and not over it. So you don't want to go to that 500 or 600% of FTP, that 10-second power. You want to do that 200% or the 150% depending on how long you're going. If it's a 500 meter sprint, you need to put out 200%. If it's a 1K sprint, 150% is probably going to do it if you can get away. So if you can't get up to that speed quick though, you're not going to get anyone off your wheel. They're just going to go with you and come around at the end if they can match you power for power, watt for watt, or at least watt per kilo. If you're a little dude on the flats, you're going to have to put a lot more out. Sorry. So those are the two things I wanted to cover today. This is a great course to do it as we got to practice, and there's no hills, there's very little dividing up. Do you guys have any questions about what we went over today, or anything you want to point out, or concerns, or something that just may be a tactical question? No? I'll pause for a sec, see if someone's typing something. You guys are a lively bunch.
Thanks for the ride.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for me. Dickie, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the ride.
No worries, man. You did real well today.
Yeah, not bad for an old bastard.
Hey, there's a number of old bastards on here. I'm starting to come up to that age, so. But Seth and Chris can talk to you all about it.
Oh yeah.
That's cute you think you're old, young man.
I didn't say I think I'm old. I said I'm getting towards there.
When I was your age, it was illegal for women to ride bicycles.
Let alone show their ankles.
All right, folks, on the stream, that's going to be it for me. If you're not on the stream, but you're on Discord, I'll be around for a few more minutes. Thanks for joining. I'm going to put up the week schedule that we have. If you're interested in any other Team ODZ rides, we have the what do we got tomorrow, Chris? We don't have the Thursday Night Throwdown this week, do we?
No, we don't. I don't remember actually what it is.
Yeah, I know there's the wagon ride. I don't know if it'll be hosted by the evil Eric Denning or lefty Justin Wagner, but there's a wagon ride tomorrow. We got, I think it's In the Feed Zone rerun on Friday. And then we have this weekend, of course, I think we're looking at a cat and mouse race. It hasn't been completely decided. And then the standard ODZ entry and pretzel ride. Those are two great rides. And next Monday is the Magnum Monday. Tuesday will be another ODZ race, probably a cat and mouse. And I will probably be on ODZ Zwifters running on Tuesday if anyone wants to join in. About an hour 45, hour 50. And Wednesday, there's another coffee ride in the morning, plus the What's Up with Power replay, and then we'll be back on Skills and Drills for another epic class, which the topic is to be determined because I have no idea what course we're going to be on yet. So, that's it for me, folks, on the stream. Thanks for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment or hit me up with a question if there's anything you have concerning today's ride.
Great class, Coach. Thanks for the workout.
Yeah, great class
Thank
as
you.
always, Coach.